What's up, friends? Today we're talking about owner financing. I am Coy Lamond with Keller Williams Premier in Owasso. Let's do this. First and foremost, it's not called rent to own. We've got to stop saying that.
Don't do it because it hurts my ears when you do it.
Rent to own sounds like your monthly rent payments start going to pay off an agreed upon purchase price of the home, and you remain the tenant and your landlord remains the landlord.
Wrong.
Say it with me. Owner finance. Here's how it's supposed to go. Terms and conditions are written up by the seller. The property is closed on whenever you've paid off 25% usually of the purchase price of the home. And the seller acts as your lender and establishes interest rates, late missed payment criteria, all that good stuff.
Man, I don't know what the you just said, little kid.
Oh, sorry. The seller usually writes up the contract where they establish interest rates, when the buyer can take possession of the property, all that good stuff. They also establish what happens in the event of a late payment or a missed payment, the late payment fees, all that good stuff. And they have to provide an amortization schedule. So that means there's a lot of risk for the buyer and it's also some for the seller. And keep in mind, a good contract should cover just about every conceivable issue that can come up and what to do about it. The amortization schedule is very important. It calculates interest and principal from the very first payment to the very last payment. It's also very important to watch out for and understand any interest rate jumps or balloon payments written into the contract. Late is no big deal as long as I don't miss a payment, right?
Wrong.
Late and missed payments can definitely be a big deal if they're not addressed correctly in the contract. Okay, risks to buyers. In the end, you will pay more than market value for this house. Full stop, end of sentence. There is also an elevated risk of financial loss. Contracts are pretty cut and dry and there's not much room for negotiation. And if you decide to stop paying, you could actually be sued for breach of contract. Some risk to sellers. Buyers could end up destroying the property and you'd be left with the repair bill. There's also longer contract time, and you don't have the immediate payout of a bank-backed loan or cash deal. There are some pros for buyers. It's a way for you to get a home without having to meet credit score, income history, some of the other criteria that you normally would with a traditional lender. And you wouldn't have to pay some of the fees associated with a regular lender. Owner finance would be a good way to get one of those properties that might not qualify for your traditional mortgage. And some pros for the sellers. You actually end up with a higher final sale price. You can actually charge interest like a bank normally would. And by taking monthly payments instead of like the lump sum payoff, you can actually potentially defer some capital gains and other taxes. And no matter what, the absolute most important thing to always remember, do not ever forget this. Write this down right now. Ha! Gotcha. Always talk to a realtor before doing any kind of real estate transaction. If you don't already have a good realtor,
Go do it again, Uber.